You might have received an email during the week or announcement saying that we want to share some things with you in our church about going forward and how we as a church are going forward. Now, if you're not familiar with the Baptist system, now listen, let me just say this. I am first a child of God. All right? I'm first a child of God. I'm a Baptist because I believe that they stick as close to the Bible as possible. All right? But I'm not a Baptist in the sense that I believe it's the only way to Jesus. All right? I believe that God is the only way to Jesus. But in saying that, the Baptist has some wonderful principles. One of the principles is what we call congregational church government, which means that the members own the church, run the church, and look after the church. And so this morning we want to share with you as leaders about where we think the church is going, and we're going to do that in our service to let you all know, for everybody who's not just what we call our legal members of the church, but all those who see Bribie as their church. And but as we share this morning, there were a lot of questions around because there is some people who would say that Pastor Ray wants this mighty big church on Bribie. I'm not really interested in a mighty big church. I leave that to God. That's His business. I'm interested, number one, that each and every single one of us grow closer to Christ. And I think that if that happens, it will have an immediate effect on our own families and our own church and our own community. But the first thing is that we ourselves grow closer to Christ. And if in that more people start coming to the church, then I scream hallelujah. Okay? Because growth is important. It's important for us to reach out. It's, the whole thing is that our job as believers in Christ is to sit in here, soak in His goodness, so that the minute we walk out of those doors, it just explodes out. It comes out of our pores, all right? That's the job. But as I thought about this and as I prayed about this, I really believe that God turned me to some piece of scripture which I think is important in terms of how we go ahead. And so I want to read with you from 2 Chronicles chapter 7 verse 14. Read with me if you can. It says this: "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land." Beautiful verses. In these preceding verses, the context of this was the fact that they were in harsh times, the people, for many of them. They had plagues, they had famines, they had doubts, the military, they had a big military might coming upon them, and they were in a dark place. And they cried out to God, and God said, "My people who humble themselves and pray, I will heal their land." Now, I know that sitting here this morning in this wonderful, beautiful place, we live in a beautiful Bribie Island where the weather is beautiful every day. That in the reality of this comfort and everything we live, that there's a danger that we don't realise that this world is in trouble, that there's a sick world. It's a sick world. You know that in Melbourne, 6,000 churches closed down. 6,000. 6,000. There is a shortage of pastors all throughout Australia. The church is in decline, and the increase is very, very small. Most of the increase, believe it or not, is due to immigration. People coming from other countries that are Christians. And this means, what is the hope for Australia? And I think the hope is, and the prayer is, for a move of God. But essentially, for a move of God to take place, it's got to start with these verses. So I want to share with you this morning 4 conditions for us to go forward, to grow. The first one is this. He says this: humble yourselves. The Scottish poet Robert Burns said it in this way: would some power give us the gift to see ourselves as others see us? We read it again. Would some power give us the gift to see ourselves as others see us? It's a gift most of us need to receive more often. We all want to believe the best of ourselves. That's natural. It's even healthy. But it's also healthy to have somebody hold that mirror in front of your face, like your wife, and say, this is what you really look like. It can be a very instructive experience. But spiritual progress begins like that. It begins when we see ourselves as God sees us, not as we see us. It's one thing when a friend says, this is what you like. It's another thing when God says that. Hebrews 4 verse 13 says this: nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of Him to whom we must give an account. You see, nothing is laid bare. He knows everything. He knows what you say behind closed doors, the secret thoughts that nobody else can hear, the hidden motives, why you do what you do, even the good things, the buried ambition, all the twists and turns of sinful nature. He doesn't have to uncover our thoughts. He already knows them. But what exactly is humility? Well, in its pure and simplest form this morning, it's just seeing my true condition before God. You see, the truth about it is that Bill Gates is a multi-millionaire. But he's not any different to the person that's sitting in one of his offices working on a computer doing some data entry. He's no different. Bill Gates is there. Why? Because God allowed it to happen. Who gave Bill Gates the brain? It was God. Who gave Bill Gates the capacities? It was God. Even Bill Gates himself says, the reason I'm so successful is because some of the people around me. But recognize God. You see, the very reason that we can tithe is because God gave us jobs. God gives us money. God gives us pensions. God gives us all of that. It's God who gives. It's God. And so that's what makes us humble. Realize that our net worth is not on us. It's on God. Bill Gates and his worker will stand before God, and there'll be no difference. Absolutely. Only what they have in God. The second thing he says is this: we humble ourselves and we pray. What sort of prayer? I think it's the sincere prayer of a person who realizes his condition before God and confesses, Lord, I am nothing without you. John 15 verse 5. Without me, you can do nothing. That's the prayer. That Lord, without you, we can't do anything in this church. We need you. Unless the Lord builds the house, we labor in vain. Thirdly, will humble themselves, pray, and seek my face. Well, what does it mean to seek God's face? Basically, it means this. Sometimes when my wife is saying something to me and I don't hear it, she will say, now listen, look at me. Remember, we've got to go to Sam's meeting at the school. Okay, all right. You see, seeking God's face means pouring all your attention upon the Saviour, looking at Him, giving Him your attention crying out to Him for everything. Seeking God's face means coming to church. It means going to Bible study. It means praying. It means reading your Bible. It means all of those. That's what seeking God's face. Literally the Hebrew is this: turn your face towards God. Fourth one, will humble themselves, pray, seek my face, and turn from the wicked ways. You see, at some point, when we've done all these things, we still have to change. We still got to change our behavior. We still got to turn away from those things that hurt God. We still got to turn away from those things that anger our Lord and our Savior. There's a beautiful progression in this. I don't know if you've all seen this. You will never pray with any fervency until you see your true humble condition before God. You will never seek God's face until you get serious about prayer. And you will never turn from your wicked ways until God becomes that all-important person in your life. Humility leads to prayer. Prayer leads to seeking God's face. And seeking God's face turns to repentance. Turning away from your sin. What a beautiful progression. Humility to prayer. Prayer to seeking God's face. And seeking God's face to turning away from that which hurts you. In saying all of that, this morning we want to, as a leadership, as an eldership, we have sat together and spent a day reflecting, looking deep within, asking questions, drinking some good coffee, eating Hazel's beautiful biscuits. And we've sought God's face as to where we as a church are and where we as a church are going. And we brought that to the deacons and asked their thoughts and opinions. And now we would like to bring it to you as a church. And we've done that by way of doing an analysis and set some goals in that. So this morning we want to share with you and be accountable to you as a church, not hiding anything, but telling you the truth as we see it, and we'd love your feedback. We'd love your feedback so much so that we provided 2 meetings tomorrow, one at 10 o'clock in the morning and one at 7 o'clock at night. And we'd love you to come and just give us your feedback on this. So we've looked at some of our strengths, and this is what we feel that some of our strengths are. We feel that we have a caring family environment, that you can come here and feel that you're part of a family, loved, cared for, and looked after. We don't always get it right, but we do feel that this is a strength in our church. We also feel that we're a very welcoming church. In fact, some people have told us we're too welcome. We've got one that welcomes you in the car park, one that welcomes you in the front door, one that welcomes you again. But we feel that welcoming is one of our strengths, that we're a welcoming church. We also believe that we're a Bible-focused church. In other words, we've got good Bible studies. We've got Bible studies that actually study the Bible and don't just have tea or coffee. But we spend time in the Word of God discovering it. We've got beautiful KYV groups, which means Know Your Bible groups. We recognize that in today's world there are many ministers who would help you get to know God's Word better through the preaching. We're not motivational speakers, and so we believe that we have Bible-focused preaching. We believe that most of our ministries are conducted on Bible-based programs. We're not Calvinistic, we're not Arminian. We follow the Bible as closely as we can. We also believe that we have relevant worship, so if you come to an 8:30 service, you will find more traditional worship. If you come here, you'll find more contemporary worship, and we feel that that's a wonderful strength of our church to be able to give that to different groups of people. We also feel that we have diverse giftings in our church. We have people with such diverse giftings that we can reach different people. We also feel that we know that we have a solid history of committed people in this church. That if you look over the history of this church, you see that there are still people here today in this church who started the church many years ago. that they've been here, that they've loved the church, served the church. Some of them have built the walls of this church. Some of them have extended it. They've seen the change. They've worked on this church. They've cleaned it. They've painted it. They've done everything. They've served up front. They've served down there. They've done everything in this church. And that is the strength of our church, that we have a great foundation of committed believers who love Jesus Christ. The other thing that we believe is a strength is that we have a harmonious eldership who are united in most things. We have the ability of eldership to differ on things, but still love each other intensely. And we have a pastor who believes he's called to this church and would love to be here for a long time, Lord willing. So those are the strengths. Now, to our weaknesses. Our weaknesses. We believe that we're missing some age groups. We believe that we should be reaching and not ignoring any groups, but we believe that there's some groups that are missing. Young mums, young families, those between the ages of 40 and 60, we believe they're missing. We also believe that one of our weaknesses is sometimes a fear and a resistance to change. And that is perhaps due to our communication. And we're probably not the best at communication, and I probably put my hand up and say that I lead the team of communication, so I probably don't do enough. My wife says I'm terrible at communication, but I have promised her that I'm working on it. So, I do try. I kind of tend to run ahead with the horse without telling my kids that they need to get on the same horse as me. So, but I think we feel that there is some that are resistant to change, and that in order to go forward, we need to embrace changing for the sake of Jesus Christ and the church. We also believe that we need a better process for newcomers, so that they come into the church, that they can be helped into a home group, they can be invited out for lunch and cared for, so that they can know where to fit in as a church. And we'd like to do this better. We also believe that one of our weaknesses is investing in those who are in our church already, that serve in volunteering capacities. That means training on, if they're volunteers in finance, in youth, in admin or whatever, that we need to equip them. We can't just give them the job of volunteering and then not help them and develop those gifts. And so we feel that that's a weakness. We feel one of our weaknesses is not being professional enough in the way we do things. And so we want to do things better. One of our weaknesses is we don't have great admin systems. Like, we don't have a workplace and health safety officer, we don't have a child safety officer, we don't have a fire safety officer, we don't have any secretary or administration at the church, as most churches do have. We don't have any of that, and we feel that that's a weakness in us going forward in our church. We also think that one of our weaknesses is our building limitations. We don't have enough space, and we'd like to develop that, and we think that that's a weakness. Now, remembering, when we say a weakness, we don't mean that that's a dead in the bucket that we can't live. We're saying that this is something that we need to work on. The reality is we've still got some space above the roof there in the penthouse suite. We still have some space there, and so we could still build some more rooms up there and that, but we don't have a lot of running around room for kids, and it'd be nice to have a soundproof room so that I don't hear my boy screaming while I'm talking. So those are some of the limitations we have. And then the other one we had was pastoral care, and I put a question mark on that, because we as leaders, we kind of differed around pastoral care, because we have this dilemma in some of the senses that some believe that pastoral care, because it's got the word pastoral, means the pastor should be doing all of it, or the elders should be doing all of it. And we feel that if somebody's being cared by somebody in the church, that's adequate. As long as somebody is being looked after and cared for, that's where we want to go. And then there's a feeling in me, as I've experienced pastoral care over the years, in the sense that you never get to the point where you've done enough. You can never go and say, I've done enough pastoral care, I've visited enough people, I've prayed for enough people. You never get to that point where you say, enough, I've done enough. And that's a good thing, because we need to love people. That's what the church is about. We're the church. We love people, we care for people, and we want to care for people. Okay? So we have a bit of a debate. So I'll leave it as a question mark, but we'd love your feedback. We'd love your feedback. All right, opportunities. Let's look at some of the opportunities which we believe lie await for us at church. One of the greatest opportunities that we believe for our church is this, is that we have in front of us, the time is right for us to be a church for all ages. If you know anything about the churches on the island, most of them are for older people. And we believe that we can be a church that reaches all ages, from young right up to old, not neglecting old, because every church needs old people, but every church needs young people. Every church needs middle-aged people. We need the whole gamut of society. And we have the opportunity right now in our church to be a church on the island that is a church for all ages. Okay? That's an opportunity. We also believe that there's an opportunity to be a relevant church. A church that is real and relevant to the people out there. That doesn't mean I want to have a rock and roll band every Sunday, yeah, because they listen to rock and roll. No, but it must be a church that's real, okay? That ministers to both men, women, and children. Families must be part of our day-to-day running of the church. Kids should be able to make noise without being shouted at. We need to have a church that's relevant. Okay? If you were to go to another place, whatever, in the community, you would see that they try and reach who they will. You know, even you go to a doctor and you'll see they have a little kiddie section there for the kiddies to play. Why? Because they know that kids come there. And we need to do that. We need to have a place that says kids are welcome, elderly are welcome, middle-aged welcome, you know, no matter what age. But this church will scream out, you, no matter what age you are welcome at this church. One of my ideas is I want to build a jungle playground in the front of the church here. When people ride past, they say, this is a church for families. The other thing that we feel is opportunity is for more staff. We need a youth worker. And we need somebody to help us with the administration. Administration takes up so much of our time. We need another service. We need a service for young people. I don't know if you know this, but you know, most young people don't go to church on a Sunday morning. Most young people go to church on a Sunday night. I can't explain it. It is what it is, all right? They go to church on a Sunday night. We perhaps need a weekly service. Maybe we need a service for those that are of a different culture. You know what I mean? But there's opportunities for us. We also need some courses. We need some marriage courses, some marriage enrichment courses, some parenting courses, maybe teaching English to people. Somebody not too long ago said to me, Pastor Ray, do you have anything to teach English? There are some great courses how to teach people English from the Bible. Imagine that, teaching somebody English from the Bible. So this is an opportunity that's here for us with you who have got these gifts to help us. The other thing that we recognize is that there's a great thing among social networking. Social networking is a very powerful tool, and there's an opportunity there for us to connect with people in that sense. And then the other opportunity for us is that God has blessed us with a manse, which we're renting out, but we feel that that's a wonderful opportunity to use that manse as a youth centre. That we could use it as a youth centre, that people could, there's nothing like that on the island, that people can go there, they can hang out, they can be counselled by some great people, they can spend time together, they can play ping pong and snooker and all that stuff and just hang out, because there's nothing on the island for teenagers, I can tell you that, all right? Beside the skate park, there is nothing, all right? Those are our opportunities, all right? Some of our threats. When I say these are some of our threats, I'm saying that these are some of the things that could hinder us from achieving our goals and our opportunities. And one of them is lack of finance. If we don't meet budget, it's like a family. If you want to go on a holiday, you've got to put a little bit extra every month, so that when a cruise does come along, you can say, hey, my name's up there, and my kids, and the wife, and we're all going, So, but you've got to save for that kind of thing. But the same as in the church. We need to plan for and have money for a move of God. The budget's there to do the daily, but something for a move of God. And in order for that to take place, if we don't have that money, you can't do that kind of stuff. The other thing is, I don't know if you know about some of the government structures, but churches are becoming quite administrative now. It takes a lot of time, energy, and one of the other things that the government is looking at is taxing churches. So they want to tax churches, they want to tax the tithing and things like that. Now there are some churches that are making millions, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about churches of them taxing tithes, which we feel is already taxed. And we feel that the church gives such an incredible amount back to the community, but if they're talking about taxing us, that could hurt us. Realizing that God can always intervene and that God is our provider, okay? But we just want to be open about our threats and real. The other is we think that one of our threats is, threats could be vocal negativity. I love the fact that in Australia we have an attitude which says, give it a go. And even in the church, we need a give it a go mentality. We need to allow people to make mistakes. We need to allow people to volunteer in certain places and give them a go. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. But at least we've given it a go. And as a church, we need to take some risks. Even if they don't come off, we've got to take some risks. We've got to do something. It's better than just sitting on the pew and not doing anything. Trevor Arnie, who's moved down to New South Wales, when we decided to go with 2 services, he came to me and he said to me, Pastor Ray, I'm not so sure about these 2 services, man. He says, but I'll give it a go. And I love that about Trevor. He was so honest with me. But he gave it a go. And there's a difference between positive criticism and somebody says, hey, Pastor Ray, I think we should turn the aircon up 2 degrees. Or somebody who says, this church is so cold, I'm never coming back here again. You know what I mean? So we've got to be very, very careful with our mouths that we're not negative, because that destroys the church. And you know what? The greatest things that destroys leadership? Discouragement. You just come and criticize somebody without any proof or found. It just floors them. It just floors them. Positive criticism is wonderful. It's beautiful. It helps you to be a better church, and it helps us to be better people. But negativity, it doesn't help. And we feel that that's one of the threats of our church. All right, so I've shared with you a little bit of an analysis of our church. So where do we go next? Well, how do we make this happen? Well, we've set some goals for ourselves as a leadership, and we would love your input on this. So, this is it. This is where we would like to work. First of all, in finances, we'd like to see our weekly budgets being met every week. This is a challenge for us, but we believe that we need to be meeting our budgets. We also believe that we need to understand the teachings of giving and responsible stewardship. That the church is the primary place where we tithe, and that this is important for the growth of the church and going forward. We also believe that we need to, as a church, that we need to put in our weekly bulletins how the income's going, so that you know and that you can see and that you can pray. And so we want to be doing that now on an ongoing basis. And lastly, we also believe that we should be crying out to God and praying that God would bless our finances. So that's in finances. In terms of a youth centre, we agreed that the manse would be an ideal place for a youth centre, providing accommodation for a youth worker or youth workers, and a focus on youth events. They can have Bible studies there, young adult Bible studies, youth group could meet there. It could be a great place for our church to hang out and for our young people on this island. New church entrance. For those that don't know, we're working, and just this week we've had some more finalising on our church entrance that we want to build, which is just in the front there. We just tell everybody this is the entrance to our church, so they know. For those that don't know, a lot of people don't know where the entrance is. But we want an entrance where people can come in, they can be greeted, it can be used as an office and a reception place, and we want to build that. It's going to cost us about $40,000, but we as a leadership has decided to set up a building task force team to promote the building fund and to raise money so that we can build our new church entrance. For extra services, we're going to start immediately on a monthly basis having evening services where we might have a movie, a missionary, or a guest speaker, something. But we're going to do that once a month and hopefully build it up from there. We're also going to be working on getting more volunteers. We would love to have a church office, and that we would have people that would put up their hand and say, hey, I'm prepared to give a morning at the church from 9 to 1 just to be there at the church for anybody that wants it. The other thing is that we want to start a bookshop at our church. I don't know if you know this, but the nearest bookshop is over an hour away. So if you wanted to buy a Christian book or CD, so guess what is the most thing that everybody asks me for on a week-to-week basis? What's it for?
Bible.
Bibles. People ask me for Bibles. A lady came and asked me for a Bible for a child. Luckily, I had a second-hand, that I kept from somebody that didn't want it. But there's nowhere yet to buy a child's Bible. Nowhere yet to buy that kind of stuff. And I think that an opportunity lies for us to have a bookshop at the church, for somebody to administer that bookshop, and that people from the island can come here, have a cup of coffee, buy a book, buy a CD, buy something of some knowledgeable books or something like that. I believe there's an opportunity for us, and we would like to work on it. The other thing that we would like to do is consolidate some strong functioning ministries. So we have, for those who don't know, we have a pastoral team that meet together on Mondays, and we look at who was here, who wasn't here, who's in hospital, who needs help, who needs a meal. So we do that on a Monday morning, but we want to grow that ministry team, and we also want to grow our admin team and our finance team and our building team, and we even want a day call team to make our just to spruce up our church and make it look prettier. So those are some teams that we want to work on in the future. And then lastly, we have set ourselves a goal of working with all the ministries so that whatever we do, we can be better at what we do. We want to be better at everything that we do. Our youth ministries, children ministries, Bible studies, we want to work on it. We want to be better at everything that we do. Those are our goals. Those are our analysis of where we are and where we're going. So where does this progress begin? Well, the answer is always the same. It begins with me. Me. It begins with you and me. Yes, of course, prayer, but it begins with us praying inside ourselves. And if we want God to move in a powerful way and demand His power and blessing, then we've got to do that. We've got to be humble, we've got to pray, we've got to seek His face and turn from His wicked ways. Perhaps we should all repeat the Chinese prayer that goes this way. Oh Lord, change the world. Begin with me. Lord, change the world, but begin with me. I leave that with you to hold, think about and pray. And I've got some pamphlets as you go out. That's a bit of a write-up on all that I've said this morning, and I'd love you to take one. I'll hand them out at the back afterwards as you leave. But please come and join us 10 o'clock tomorrow morning if you have some time, or 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. We will absolutely love your feedback because you are the church. We are the church. The church is not a building, it's us. Amen? Let me pray together and then we're going to sing a beautiful song to finish. Let's pray.